Hey friends, and welcome back. Today we're going to do a really creepy, spooky, scary makeup transformation today, inspired by my recent favorite Netflix TV show, The Haunting of Bly Manor. From the creators of The Haunting of Hill House, this show is beyond good. So you can definitely subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. We do beauty makeups, effects videos, character transformations that have creepy twists while talking about really eerie, weird stories. Been in the makeup and effects movie industry for over 7 years now, so it's about to get creative and cool. I know The Haunting of Bly Manor, people get bored with it and they don't think it's that spooky, but I find the storytelling, the aesthetic of the TV show so overwhelmingly good and well written. And there's little Easter eggs hidden in the show, and one of them is the spookiest, creepiest, absolute favorite thing to me. If you're terrified by porcelain dolls, this may not be the character for you, but this character has no face. It's found in an attic and they put a doll's masked face over this character of this person, thing, entity, ghost, spirit, what have you, whatever it is, over their face. And it's hidden in the shadows throughout this entire mansion home. In this whole show, it's like an Easter egg that you find, and now it makes me want to go back and rewatch this season just to find them. I'm trying not to give out too many spoilers for this show, but it is awfully well written and the plot is so good. So let's turn into this creepy doll-faced character while talking about real life spooky, scary stories from real life haunted houses, stories that I scoured Reddit for of people's real experiences. Let's get started. So this first Reddit user was the one that started this thread that had over 50 comments. It was made about a year ago. And they really wanted to tell their tale before asking other people's real life stories. So if you think this is real or not, if you believe these people and their tales, if not, they're very good writers and it's very well written, because some of these are bone-chillingly eerie and spooky. This person on Reddit asked, what haunted stories have you heard of or experienced? And theirs goes a little something like this. Their father's friend had a poltergeist in their old house. They had a baby in the home that would be moved from the cot to the bed by itself without anyone touching it. Creepy. Now the scary experience that this person personally has encountered themselves, the day after their grandmother's funeral. This is gonna be hard makeup, I just realized, even though it looks simple. No ma'am, I can never choose anything simple. I always want the creepy, hard things. But they were going, that day of their grandma's funeral, they're going out to the car park. Is that a parking lot? I am new here, I'm not bright. Is this from England? Am I just a dumb American brain? Anyways, they had a helper run downstairs because the helper was very scared because they heard the grandmother calling for their mother. What? And it was during the day they had to go to the grandma's funeral? What? Terrifying. So, second story, this next person, they said that there was a few times where their family experienced stuff, but during their grandma's final days here on Earth, they were actually sharing a room with their grandmother because the grandmother was scared to being alone for some reason, and they didn't realize that she was scared of being alone because it was probably close to her final days here on Earth. So she slept with her grandmother anyways and let her grandmother take her bed while she slept on the floor. This character has like little cherub baby curls up here that I'm living for, and I hope I could accomplish it because it looks like brown wood. But anyways, she went to work as usual one day and she got a call at work that her grandmother had passed away. And since the grandmother slept on her bed, passed away on her bed, they took away that mattress and she kept the same bed frame, but she was waiting to get a new mattress for her old bed frame so she could sleep on it. And naturally she was very sad that her grandmother passed away because she was very close to her grandmother and her grandpa. And one night she was just laying there on her bed, falling asleep, when she felt someone touch her cheek. That's a no for me. But she didn't mention this to anyone in her family because she just thought she was maybe imagining things or having a crazy dream. Until one day her mother came to her and said she was having dreams about the grandmother coming to her and telling her that the grandmother was the one who was going to her room at night to wipe away her tears as she cried in her bed. Apparently, before she had that dream, her mother actually would wake up at night to look in the hallway to see a white figure appearing. Not only that, but it would walk into her daughter's room. Like, what more proof do you need? It's even crazier when your family not only believes you, but they experience it themselves. Like, I would die, live, breathe for that experience because everyone just thinks I'm crazy in my family. When her grandmother passed away, it was common to smell her grandmother's scent in the evenings at night around the house that of course she passed away in. And one day their uncle came over with their 2 to 3 year old son who has never met the grandma that passed away or the grandpa, but just saw the picture of the grandma and grandpa up in the living room, and all of a sudden this little boy points to the picture and says, "I see those people. They've been walking around this house since we've gotten here." They don't think it's a scary haunting per se. They think it's like their family members lovingly just waiting around, making sure they're okay, taking care of them and looking after them, which I think so too. Honestly, if I was going to experience anything super spooky, I would rather have it something like this than a very evil, mean entity that I don't know who in the world it is. But that could just be me. This next story just starts off wild and out there. This person says that their aunt used to hold, or aunt? What do you call them? Used to hold exorcist parties at their house. Like, what? Excuse me? Did I hear that correctly? So this person was very close with their aunt, and sometimes after school she would crash at her aunt's house and sleep over. I'm just drawing in these cracks. I forgot to powder my face, and I forgot to put blusher on. This is the palette I'm using today, if it matters. It's bomb. It's the E.L.F. Retro Paradise palette, and it's affordable, great, worth it. So when this person would stay at her aunt's house, it was common for her to come home, well, to her aunt's house from school, and there would be a priest there performing an exorcism. You know, just usual family gathering things. What? Do you ever have things in your family that you didn't realize was weird or different than most traditional usual family households till you grew up? This is like that on a spooky, weird, terrifying, creepy spectrum. It initially scared this person. I mean, come on, it would scare me. When she would come home from school and witness the priest performing these exorcism, it spooked her when she walked by because the victim of the exorcism that they were performing this on was grunting and growling, sometimes snickering, and they said that they eventually got used to it. What? See, this is why I wanted to film this video, because this isn't it like the Vasilla like horror stories or these famous horror stories you hear about of the creepy hotels with the girls falling in the water in LA, or famous serial killers. These are like stories you have to dig around the internet to hear. That's why I like them. They just feel more textured, raw, and real to me. But there was an exception where this did not feel like cool or normal. There was an emergency case one night. They could hear the victim screeching in a room for a very long period of time. They just thought this exorcism specifically was stubborn, but then they heard something banging on their door and they scurried to go beside their cousin, which I do not blame them. And their cousin had to leave them to go to the bathroom a little moments later, and while their cousin was in the bathroom, they heard tapping on the outside of their window, the outside window. So they were talking to themselves saying, oh, this is just like my fear of what's going on. It's not real. It's not really happening, until the tapping not only continued, but it continued louder and longer. And at this point, there was no way that this person could like write this off. It wasn't their cousin because they were in the bathroom. It wasn't anyone else that could like hover outside the window, like outside of the window. Especially because the window in the room that they were in where this tapping was happening was on literally a 5th floor, the 5th story floor of this huge house that they're in, like a mansion type house. And the only other thing across from the window was a tree in the middle of where they parked their cars. And that's the end of the story. Like, I want to know more. What happened to the exorcism? What happened to that girl? What happened? Did they like discover anything tapping the window? There's so many questions I have, but that's the end of that story. So this next story was told to this girl by her parents because it happened when she was a baby. And this story is where this girl as a baby fell off her cradle, and it was one of those old school cradles that hooked to the ceiling. And the baby girl landed on the floor without even crying or anything. And they said that they saw a ghost child crawl over and carry this baby down to the floor. That it was a baby in Thailand, like a ghost child from Thailand. Because this ghost child wanted to play with the baby. And that's why that she didn't cry. And when this person was 7 years old, their grandmother actually passed away, and everyone swore that they could smell their grandmother. What's with all the smells? I feel like that would happen to me because I'm so scent oriented. Yeah, and at 7 years old, she would tell her family that the grandma was sitting on the sofa right near her when everyone could smell it. So this next person swears that then when they were 8 years old that they had a possession on them of a demon. They only have a vague memory of what happened because, of course, they were 8. But all they could recall is that they kept having the same exact nightmare every single night. And they would wake up hours after hours of screaming and crying. And as they were having these night terrors or nightmares and they were screaming and crying, their parents would actually try to wake them up, which I heard that you're not supposed to do that. And in these nightmares, there was creatures with oversized heads that were trying to shove something down their throat. How terrifying is that? But it all ended at the end of the week. Their parents brought a priest from their temple. The priest was a female, and she did some sort of prayer that closed off all connection from whatever other world these reactions were happening. Like a barrier that she closed off. And since then, like, this person hasn't experienced anything since she closed off that barrier. So this next person's dad brought home Thai deities, and they were called Kumantangs. I'm so sorry, I probably butchered that and don't know how to pronounce anything, but they always felt like someone was watching over these figures. Like they were also being watched when they were left home alone with them. Like they were not alone in the house. So one night they had a strange feeling like they were being watched. So they woke up to their mother looking over them with a crazy manner on her face. So she panicked and hit her mom lightly multiple times. If I hit my mom, possessed by demons or not, or whatever's happening here, my mother would beat my butt. Like, no questions asked. Just whoop me across my face, body, and all. And then after that happened, her mother giggled and went back to sleep. When she told her mother what happened the next day, because I would too, her mother couldn't recall anything that happened last night at all. Like, what? And what's weird is that this person's mother has no history of sleepwalking or anything ever. Another incident, she had a dream of a figure looming over her, and she had this abrupt feeling and woke up screaming. But it's so weird, like her mother started doing that once her dad brought those figures home. This next story is this person that decided to visit an abandoned mansion in the forest with their friends back in 2015. The mansion's name is called Istana Woodnook. I'll put the name of it right here. But it's pretty close to Holland Village, and they just went there to take pictures. 3 of them had been planning for a while to go there since it was a really popular site for not only visitors but for explorers and photographers. You could probably see a lot of pictures actually on Instagram and online of people taking pictures there. Upon reaching there, one of the friends had an uneasy feeling about the place. They wanted to go on the 2nd floor, but this friend was even scared to go up. And they just thought that their friend was just afraid of the spooky atmosphere and it wasn't a big of a deal. So they did their thing. They snapped their pictures on a Nikon D5100 and they went on and they're going back downstairs, and that friend was just over it. She was totally over the exploration, taking the pictures and staying there. This friend and their friend Luke, not the girl who was scared, went up top and they heard some screaming, loud noises. Like something was being moved. The sound lasted for a second and everyone was mutually keeping quiet about it. They decided to leave the mansion, go in their car, and drive off the lot to go on the main road. And it wasn't until they reached the main road that they decided to talk about it. And the three of them were the only ones in this mansion, but it sounded like there was another person there dragging something, someone, or a body or something. And the sad part is that they didn't even catch anything creepy on their camera, nor find out what that noise was. And last they heard is that it's illegal to explore and go there at this mansion. All right, I'm gonna put on a wig and we'll be back. And just like that, we have turned into this very creepy masked doll figure from The Haunting of Bly Manor. Leave a comment down below on what other makeup videos you would love to see. If I love your comment, I'll pick it for a video. You guys should definitely subscribe. We do more creepy makeup videos every Monday and Friday here on this channel. So subscribe if you want to see more. This show is so good. I just love creepy haunted mansion anything, to be honest, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, creators, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Sweet dreams.